Welcome to USMLE SARTI. We are committed to empowering IMGs. We're excited to guide you on your match journey. Don't forget to click subscribe and turn on notifications so you can get notified whenever we add new content. Also, follow us on Instagram and Twitter for the latest tips and tricks regarding everything USMLE. Now, let's dive into it.
Welcome, everyone. And this is our webinar on affordable US clinical experience, how to look for it, what do you learn from it, and how do you, do well in it. So today we will have a host of speakers. They are either Sarthi students who have done US clinical experiences or the preceptors, physicians who help students with the US clinical experiences. In terms of housekeeping, you should all have access to the chat and you can ask questions in the chat. So if something is not clear and if you need, of course, ask away. And then the other thing is, as speakers are talking, we will take the questions, but probably after the speaker is done. And just to kick it off, I wanted to get started with US clinical experience. So, what I've realized, and I'll give you 10 factors on what determine the US clinical experience. What should you look for? What 10 things you should look for when you are looking for US clinical experience? So number one is the learning. I think learning is the most important thing, whether it is learning about the US healthcare system, whether it's learning about the patient management, the EMR and interdisciplinary approach, all of that, if you can get from the US clinical experience is top notch. The second is the setting, whether it's inpatient, whether it's outpatient, and a lot of it also depends on your student status. If you are a student, then in an inpatient setting, you can actually do quite a bit. You can interact with patients. You work just as a AMG who's on elective, so you have a lot more flexibility. If you're a graduate, then inpatient rotations for most purposes will be observership. So you really have to see what you want, because you really want hands-on experiences also. So hands-on versus observership is the third kind of criteria you should look for. Observerships can be okay if you are either fairly experienced, coming in, say a practicing physician in your home country with 5, 6, 10 years of experience, or many of our students already have home country residency. So that kind of a thing. Observership, maybe 1 or 2 observerships may be okay. The other time observerships may be okay is when you are going to a top tier program like a Cleveland Clinic, a Harvard, a Mayo Clinic, inpatient. So, they obviously, as a graduate student, you may not be able to do inpatient-patient interaction, but I think the brand really matters. So that was the third thing, observership versus hands-on. Then, of course, the other thing you have to understand is ACGME accreditation. So whether you are doing it in a clinic, outpatient clinic, or hospital, what is the ACGME accreditation? Because you don't want to do with a standalone clinic which has no affiliation. That's something to be avoided. The fifth thing I think is one of the most important things, which is specialty specific. So the more US clinical experience you do in the specialty of your choice, I think that really aligns well with your story and will help you in your eventual match. So if you are interested in internal medicine, try to focus on IM or subspecialties, and likewise. Now, 1 or 2, maybe 1 rotation in a parallel specialty doesn't hurt, but if you do 3 or 4 in a different specialty, then it could be a problem. If you are a student and your college is VSLO, then I think you solve a lot of problems. I know there are several colleges which are VSLO, and you should directly go through the VSLO route if possible. And if you start early, I think you can get some very affordable rotations. Now, The other thing that matters is rotations fee also varies with, which city you do it and which state you do it. So location really makes a difference also when you're looking at the affordability criteria. Of course, each rotation can have different fee, like I said, based on all these factors, and we'll discuss some of those rotations as well, depending on your budget, depending on the price point, on what you can get out of each of these rotations. The ninth kind of criteria is who do you do the rotation with? So, as you probably know, if you do the rotation with, say, a senior attending or a program director at a residency program, these rotations tend to be expensive just by the nature of it, right? So, who do you do the rotations with also can influence in some ways the affordability. Finally, last but not the least, is the letter of recommendation. You always want a waived letter. You want a customized, personalized letter, a very strong letter which reflects your skills and experiences and what you contributed in that rotation, what you learned in that rotation. So, the letter of recommendation is also one of the most important things you look for when it comes to the US clinical experience. So I think there are these 10 factors that can influence what you do in a USCE, how do you look for a USCE, and of course, in terms of you looking for affordable USCE as well. I'll have more to talk about it, but I think at this point we can go to our speakers. So I think our first speaker is Dr. Tejaswini, and I think you are there, Tejaswini. It's just that I don't know which link you're in. There's
Yeah,
too many links.
I'm there.
Okay, let me give you the permission. So you should be able to share your camera and welcome. And so yeah, if you want to introduce yourself and then the tips you have for the students.
Yeah, sure. My name is Tejaswini Agatila. I'm a psychiatry resident in United States. I'm currently PGY1 psychiatry resident at Oakland Physician Medical Center, Pontiac, Michigan. So today's my agenda is to cover up like how to understand US clinical rotations. In under this, like I will be covering 3 points. What are US clinical rotations? Types of rotations, like there are 3 types, which are observership, externship, and clinical clerkship. And the third point is to the importance of rotations for IMGs. So basically, US clinical rotations are uh, are critical in shaping IMG's journey towards securing the residency position in United States. It also allows us to get familiarized with the US healthcare system and the EMR and developing rapport with the patients. And in terms like we'll be getting hands-on clinical experience overall and establishing even connections which would help us to get in to residency. So most of the residency programs prefer the candidate to have minimum US clinical experience. Uh, this shows like how US clinical rotations plays a key role in us for us to get into the residency. First topic, like as I told you, like why are US clinical rotations important? There are like so many components which makes it very important. Those include like getting exposure to US healthcare system. So we may not be that familiar with the US healthcare system. It's almost same all over the world, but there are few components which vary from country to country. So that's the reason why we have to get some exposure to it. This also helps IMGs to understand like how the US hospital system works, how their workflow is, and what kind of patients we are getting exposed to, and how we have to manage the patients, what are the protocols in general, and we'll get exposed to multidisciplinary team and how to approach. This also increase our familiarity with electronic medical records, or also known as EMRs, and the clinical documentation, how to document whatever we have interaction with the patient, how to document it. And these are the key competencies which the residency programs will be looking into. Next is developing clinical skill. This also gives us a chance to enhance our diagnostic reasoning, um, and communicating with the patient, and also helps us to learn evidence-based practice. US clinical experience also gives us an opportunity to participate in patient care under a well-trained physician who also got trained like us in United States, and it depends on the type of rotation you do. This also helps us to get networking and professional connections. So, as we are applying from different countries, we may not know the person, like the program and the people over there, and even they also doesn't know us. So if we don't know the person, like how are we gonna choose them? So this is an opportunity for us to get familiarized with the program, as well as like them getting familiarized with us. So doing a rotation in a program, like where in a hospital or a clinic where the physician is affiliated with the residency program, or the hospital has a residency program, will help us to get familiarized with the attending physicians, residents, and medical staff over there. And it also applicable vice versa. They will also get to know more about us and our work type and everything. IMG, like it also helps the IMGs to build relationship, and this is a way like where they see us and give a LOR depending on it. It also helps us to improve our resume, and by giving us a hands-on experience in the system. It also shows the commitment to practice in United States, and it also gives an opportunity to get adapted to the people, work environment beforehand. Like when we get into residency, we won't be having that much time to get adapted. So this is the time like where we get adapted to the weather, people, and the system. It also gives us, as I told you, like it also gives an opportunity to get a LOR, and LORs, US LORs plays a significant role in the residency application. So this is an opportunity for us to get familiarized with the US healthcare, and also the physician under whom we will be working gets to know about us, and can also give us the strong LOR. Experience in chosen specialty. If we get experience in the specialty we are interested in, it will be helpful for us. And also some programs require specialty specific US clinical experience to increase our interview chances. um, if we go into the program website, like there will be in the candidate's preferences, like the applicant information will be showing like how many LORs, or like how many minimum rotation experience they require, particularly in the United States for the candidate. So this plays a key role in that. The next one is like the type of US clinical rotations. As we know, like there are majorly three different kinds of US clinical rotation opportunities, and each one has its pros and cons. The first one we're gonna discuss is about observership. Observership is more of like shadowing a physician without direct patient interaction. This kind of opportunity, the IMGs who are already graduated, they can choose this observership. It has its key own benefits, such as like we'll be getting to know like how US healthcare system works, and as Pavan sir told, like if we get an opportunity like observership in a first year programs such as Stanford or like Cleveland Clinic or Johns Hopkins, that could strongly boost up your CV and like your application. So this provides exposure to US healthcare system, obtain an LOR from a US physician, and it might not play it might be not as strong as externship or clinical clerkship, but having something is better than having nothing, right? Like this could help us in that critical situation. The next one is externship. So externship, who can apply for this kind of rotations? Like as I told you, IMGs who are already graduated, but who didn't get into residency. These kind of candidates can apply for externship. Uh, this externship opportunity gives us a hands-on clinical experience and allows us to participate in getting involved in patient care, taking history and physical examination. In some rotations, they give us an opportunity to work on the EMR. So indirectly, it's giving us exposure to how to write a note on EMR, documentation, and everything. This also gives us an opportunity for for us to work closely with the physician, and the physician can look into our work and give us a strong LOR. The last but not least is clinical clerkship, which is also known as considered as electives. Um, who can apply for these clinical clerkship? This can be final year medical students before their graduation. They shouldn't get graduated. Then only these kind of rotations are considered as clinical clerkship. This gives us hands-on clinical training for the medical students who are enrolled in an accredited medical school. Benefits are like similar to externship, but as you are not graduated, this can be added to your credits. So it will show like you're even more interested before you graduated, and this gives us an opportunity to apply residency before like immediately after you graduate. And how to choose a right rotation? If you are a medical student, then you prefer clinical clerkship. So that would be a best option for you. And for externship, um, the IMGs who already got graduated and still have time, like if they could get an opportunity to get exposed to the rotations, and if they have done some kind of basic research already about the rotations and all, if they could get it before the match season, then it's better for them to prefer externship. And observership is like when we don't find any opportunity for externship or clerkship, and still like we need an LOR, then better we can choose observership. That would be helpful for our networking and LOR. And targeting specialty, like we have to be specific about like which specialty we are choosing. We advance before we apply for residency. This could be helpful for us because as I told you, like the programs prefer minimum of two letter of recommendations from the specialty we apply, particularly in United States. So this could be helpful in certain such situations. And this is my topic.
Well, thank you very much, Tejaswini. This is excellent, and you know, of course, you matched in one of the most competitive IMG specialties, psychiatry. So, you must have done very well. So, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Pawan sir.
Thank you. And now there are a couple of questions before I move on to the next speaker. So, does Stanford provide LOR? I think you know you will have to check with them. Different hospitals programs have their own policies. Is it must to be done with step one before the rotations or no? So again, it depends. If you go through Sarthi rotations, you don't have to do step one, and I'll before the rotation. So I'll come to that in a minute. But our next speaker, Dr. Vermonton, I don't know if he is there yet. So we'll see. But then I know we have Dr. Shehata there. So Dr. Shehata has been, you know, helping our students quite a bit over the last few years. So Dr. Shehata, can you share your videos streaming? So wanted to welcome Dr. Shehata and you know, share his tips with you all on how to do well on rotation. So, Dr. Shehata, are you there? All right. I asked if I maybe check with him. I can see him on the screen. But meanwhile, let me take a couple of other questions as you know, he's getting in. If doing multiple rotations, how many rotations suggestion and what number of externships? So number of rotations, I think, depends on your year of graduation. I think a minimum 3 months is absolutely required. You do want at least 3 months of US clinical experience, if not 4. All programs take a minimum of can take 4 LOR. So our suggestion is at least 4. But of course, if you are older YOG, if you have gaps, then we can, you know, look into more rotations. Okay. Can we apply for electives after we get a medical degree before the permanent registration in your state council? I don't think so. I think after you get your medical degree, you are considered a graduate, and that's how you will have to do externship. Although, you know, we can definitely help with the externships as well. Is it okay if we do rotations in internal medicine and apply for family medicine residency? So it depends. I think if you do internal medicine, primary care, you know, it can work for FM. So, but don't do 3 of these, right? So it is certainly doable. So let's see if Dr. Shehata is there. Dr. Shehata, are you there? I cannot hear you. Okay, maybe not. So I'll keep taking questions as we go through. But I think Mr. Jose is there, and he is our partner in Arizona. So Arizona, we do have a lot of very affordable inpatient rotations. You know, Arizona is one state where IMGs don't generally come, but it has become, or it is becoming a lot more IMG friendly. So I wanted to invite him. Oh, all right. Dr.
All right.
Shihata is here. So Jose, I'm sorry.
No
Give
problem.
me
It's
a
okay.
couple of minutes.
Next time, next time.
Yeah, next is you. So, Dr. Shehata, welcome. And, you know, you've been helping our students for the last few years. So, if you can just introduce yourself and give our students some tips on how to do well and what you look for when a student comes and what is your teaching methodology and so on. We cannot hear you, Dr. Shahata. So maybe if you can check your speakers.
Good morning,
Mic.
everyone.
Yes, now we can. Thank you.
So we're here to talk about the importance of communications and how to improve in communication with
Yeah.
medical team, physicians, nurses, patients, everyone you know. So
Yeah.
how to effectively communicate with attending physicians and healthcare. Okay. So first, you have to have able to communicate in English, okay? Which is for you in India, it's much better than my home country in Egypt, okay? But still, uh, uh, good command of the English language, okay? Which is for sure, we all know there is difference between American English and British English, yeah, right? And I'm sure different Indian English, okay? But for sure different than Egyptian English. I remember when I first came in here into the US, before I start my residency, I was not lucky like many of you. We did not have observership or research or things like that. Was not things that to think of. So I have a brother here. I was visiting him and trying to know about the culture and the country and the people. So I have a meeting with someone. And I went in time, and their assistants were asking me why you're here for. I said, instead of saying I have a meeting with a person, I said, I have a date with a person. So that person turned back to the one I'm going to see and said, your date is here. So that was the most memorable things I remember, but I'm sure I've done a lot of funny things like that in the beginning. So confidence in yourself, in your language, and your knowledge, okay, radiates around and compel people to accept you and accept your communication. So for a medical student or a resident in a US residency or a hospital, okay, right? Here's how it works. Your shift or your day is supposed to start at 7 o'clock, right? In the morning, okay, right? You go 6 o'clock. Okay? You study your patient charts. Okay, you see what happened the day before. Okay, what happened overnight. Okay, you talk to the nurses. Okay, you ask them what happened. Okay, overnight. You look at the other attending notes and orders, and for sure you look at today lab results, and you try to read about it, how to fix it, how to correct, how to what the next step. Then comes a presentation, okay, which can be a significant thing, okay. For me, okay, when I first started in the US, presentation was a major issue for me. I was a bad presenter, right? So to remember that you're a physician talking to a physician. So I have to focus on the really important things, okay? And you have to put them in order, okay, right? And you have to talk in medical terms, okay? And whatever you're saying have to have a meaning related to that particular patient, okay? Then next, I want all my students, okay, to be better than me, okay? So it's tough for a 4-week rotation to transition to where you transition from a student to be a resident or attending. It takes 3 to 6 months at least. Yeah. Going outside a little bit. Yeah. Then going to Egypt. Okay. There is no American resident, okay, can go practice downtown Cairo. Okay. They'll end up with a disaster. Okay. Same thing if I come from Egypt or come from India, coming from any other country in Europe or Africa. There is a cultural difference, and every country has its own characteristic. So be prepared, okay, to undergo a process of what we call metamorphosis, okay, or transformation, okay, from what you have been doing for the rest of your life, okay, to be able to fit into the U.S. health system, not just the U.S. health system, okay, into the whole country. You'll not be just living in a hospital, you'll be living in a house, marrying, having children, going to school. So you have changed what you have been doing all your life, to be different and fitting into your new home country. Okay? So that does not happen in one day or 1 week. Okay? It takes at least 3 to 6 months. So that's why to be involved, okay, to most of us are moving to immigrate, to live for good in the US. Okay? So you have to accept that. You have to be mentally prepared for that. Second thing, okay, right? We are coming with, as I said, with a good life experience, 20, 25 years or more, right? That means that you have a full cup of life experience. And if you have worked in India, that means there is more experience there. But unfortunately, not necessarily the experience that can prepare you to work or practice in US. So I always tell my students, empty your cup a little bit. What does that mean? Okay, right? You cannot fill, okay, the whole cup. Right? So to be able to change, first you have to be willing to change. Then you have to be willing to let go of some of your life experience, okay, and adapt new experience and new changes in your life. You have to empty your cup a little bit to know that. You have to be willing to do that. Okay, right. So that being said, okay, you come to the hospital or the clinic, you study the patient chart, and you communicate to the attending, present the patient to the attending. Your job does not stop there. You're better be ready for what is after you're around with attending the patients. Okay, you continue to follow up through the day. You're not done. So you follow up with other consultants. You follow up through the day. Whatever labs, whatever imaging comes back, imaging delayed, lab delayed. You follow up with the nurses. You follow up with radiology department for your patient to get things done today. Okay, but then you continue to follow up. You better be follow up with the same patient in during that hospital stay, or as I do with my patients, my students in the clinic, we follow up with the same patient every day. We order labs for them today. We follow up with the labs results, imaging, referral to see other consultants. We continue to follow up with that. Okay. Right. So this is for communications, which is a very big topic. How to communicate with attending and staff, and we can keep going on that. Networking. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about that. Part of the ongoing communications, you have to also be with mastering of your social skills. You have to be presentable, you have to be likable, and you're not just watched by your patients, patient's family, other attendings with you, nurses, nurse managers, social worker, case managers, hospital administration, medical society, state medical board. Everybody's watching you. Mr. Google watching you. Patient go to Google, what you said, okay, or what you didn't say, they come back to you. Okay. I read it in Google. Okay. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't stop there. There's ChatGPT, and then there is the new ChatGPT, Chinese ChatGPT. Okay. Right. So you always being judged. So you need to be involved socially and personally with everyone around you. Going to LinkedIn, and I'm sure you're better than me on managing social media and emails, Facebook, and many other social media. Communicate to program directors, ask about observership, ask about research opportunities. I'm sure you know when you send an email, be professional, okay? Like someone who have nothing to do with research like me. Don't send me an email saying, if I'd like to join you for research. Do your homework first, okay? And I'm sure you also know when you send an email, don't send mass email, okay? Try to make it personalized. It takes time, take effort, okay? But that's the only professional way that's going to get you through to where you want. Yeah, all right. So, professionalism, okay? Always avoid language. Okay? Try to be more professional, okay? Calculated, measured, okay? How you talk to everybody. And I say everybody, doctors, physicians, nurses, janitors. I have a medical student applying for the match a couple of years ago. Very smart, very sharp guy. But he did a fatal mistake. I found that when you talk to the secretary or the medical assistant, he shows them zero respect. With people above him, he's full of respect, and very diplomatic, right? But there is no need when you talk to someone below you or what you think, right? To be unrespectful or rolling your eyes up like exactly what this guy did. Yeah, because in your residency program, attendings will be listening and getting complaints or feedback from janitors, from medical assistants, from PCA, from patient families. So treat everybody equally with the same respect, with same professionalism. Yeah, right. Always go to medical literature, medical journals, read articles, right, and learn how they discuss cases, okay, how to discuss research, okay, right. That will help you a lot, okay, with adapting that same language, same attitude, and same approach. That part of what I just said about the transformation and metamorphosis. Right. Be prepared. Okay, I know it's costly. Okay, but be prepared before any getting into the match. Okay, for the residency. You spend 3 to 6 months, okay, in the US, okay, either in a observership or clinical training, okay, or a research. Most people think it is about getting the letter of recommendation, okay? Absolutely not, okay? Everybody have the letter of recommendation, okay? That's not the point at all. The point is getting the interview, okay? And going beyond the interview will carry you to the match, okay? Let me tell you something, okay? About 4 or 5 years ago, the EMG asking medical program directors, what the most thing that you would like to have and will make you choose a candidate over the other in an interview? The first 4 or 5 items have to do with communication. Okay? How they are communicating to the program director, how they attend communicating with our doctors who interviewed them, how they are communicating with the president, how they communicating with other residents, okay, in the program that they interviewed them. You get judge it, okay? You get feedback from all of these people. They sit down together and evaluate every candidate one by one. So that's not going to happen unless you undergo this process of transformation or metamorphosis, and you spend about 3, maybe 6 months in US. Okay, you'll change. You don't feel it, okay? But that is going to happen, and that's what you need. It translates into your personal statements, it translates in your CV, and it translates in your way you talk to the attendings in the interview and other residents do. Okay. One more thing. Yeah, right. You finish your you're doing an observership or you're doing research, and you finish your task for the day. Okay. Please, okay. Don't say I'm done and go home. Okay. Right. See your colleagues, okay. How are they doing? Okay. Do they need help? Okay. And do help them. Okay. For 2 reasons. Okay. People will love you, okay? People will recommend you for anything good that you need, okay? And they will pay you back another day, okay? Always go way beyond your just task assigned to you, okay? In your own task, okay? And helping others around you, okay? That's what really everybody do. Okay. How to do about getting clinical connection for the future, okay? One of the good things I did myself when I first joining residency, or some people do before that, is go to conferences, okay, volunteer for health fairs, okay, go to workshops, okay, volunteer in hospitals, okay, do observership, okay, offer your services as a student or a physician, wherever is needed, okay. Go to social media, look around you, okay, look where is needed, you can be presentable, okay, right, and join, okay. Don't stay home and waiting for chances to come to you. Be very active, okay, be very involved, okay, in everything around you, okay, and beyond, okay. Be good communication with colleagues, okay. My best jobs I got offered from colleague, okay, right, that I was surprised why they didn't take it themselves, right? But that's how it works, okay? Right. you be good to people, people will be good to you, and opportunities will come to you. Okay, it's a after a while it's gonna become effortless. Okay? That mentality of thinking like that, right? And that's what you need really to be accepted and be carried on the U.S. health system.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Shahata. Much appreciate your time. Very, very valuable tips. And we look forward to sending a lot of
Pleasure.
students to
My
you.
pleasure.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, let's move on. And before I go to Jose, I did want to, share the screen and, just in case you're looking. So our direct website is right here, residencymatch.usmlesarthi.com. So Shitanshu, maybe you put the link. And if you are looking for rotation, just click on this clinical rotation link and you will be able to sort, filter, all the rotations. The rotations are also visible on our website. If you go to right here, usmlesarthi.com, clinical rotations, and you can check availability. It'll take you to the same website. This also will give you right here a list of in Excel, which you can sort, and you can sort by various, specialty, state, type of rotation, if there is a discount, so on and so forth. So you can actually, sort these and look at whether they are PD rotations, inpatient, outpatient, and like, for example, what is the discount they are currently offering. So there's a lot of way to look for rotations on our website. And as Shitanshu also posted, you can set up time with us. So Shitanshu, maybe send them the link to the profile review as well. So you can set up time. We can help you select your rotations as well. And before I move, I'll take one question: clinic letterhead versus hospital letterhead. I think someone is asking. So invariably, I think hospital letterhead in most occasions will be the most useful one you should look for. Okay. Now there could be exceptions, but I think that is something you need to look for. What is the minimum required duration of US clinical experience to be done for an IMG with a post-graduation in psychiatry from India, graduated 2022? I think 2 to 3 months is still very, very required. But if you have a PG in psychiatry, we have had students who have done directly matched into fellowship. So if you are looking for a path in psychiatry, there are various options for you, including a residency, including a fellowship in psychiatry. So get in touch, click on the profile review, but there are options for you as well. All right, let's move on. And I think this time I do want to go to Jose. So Jose, if you're there, welcome. And,
Thank you.
let's talk about what students can get out of the Arizona rotations. That's
Absolutely.
something a lot of students have asked us.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Just to introduce myself, thank you everybody for joining us, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you. My name is Jose Gerardo. I'm a site clerkship program director here in the city of Phoenix. I've been here going on 9 years now, and medical education management and placement. So work with multiple hospitals through the state of Arizona, and we've got a couple of outreach facilities that we're still going to onboard through Sarthi for Texas and California, but we'll announce that at a later time. So for now, I do live in Phoenix, and so I am on site. We have an office here as our student services support office. So I'm going to cover 3 points. And first off, I want to thank the rest of the panel and Dr. Shahata for their guidance. So I'm going to build on the guidance they've been giving, and I'm going to cover 3 points. The 3 points I'm going to cover is going to be, making strong impressions, right? It's the first step to success. We only get one chance to make a first impression. So I'm going to cover a couple of pointers on that, building on Dr. Shahata's commentary as well. Building the right relationships to position yourself for an LOR. That's going to be important. And then lastly, I want to cover, some common mistakes over my tenure of working with IMG students to do your best to avoid, right? because clearly you're not from here, or you're coming here to get the experience. You want to be successful. We want you to be successful. Your success really is our success, because if you're successful, then they know we have quality students and we're helping people reach residency. That's really what the goal is for all of us here. So in point one about making a strong impression, right? I want to build, I can't emphasize enough what Dr. Shahata was saying is you got to be proactive. You've got to stay engaged. You know, the preceptors are going to give you what you put, you know, what you give them, what you put in, you're going to get out of it, right? If you come in just clearly just expecting, okay, I'm just going to be there 3 or 4 weeks and I'll go ahead and get an LOR, you're going to set yourself up for failure, because everything is, we all know what we're working towards, but we still have to put in what we would call the sweat equity, the work ethic. You've got to put into it, right? You don't plant the seed and then reap the crop in the same motion. It doesn't happen that way. That is just life. That is not Jose Gallardo speaking. That is really how life works. So just want to make sure that I can, point that out. The preceptors will give you what you put in. Just remember, one day when you're a physician, you have dedicated your life to this career, right? 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years. So when you're on a rotation, show interest in it. Ask them, you start to build a relationship with them, right? You have to stay engaged. Even if if it's not the exact preceptor or one of the residents or somebody else in the staff, fine, do a little homework on the doctor you're going to go before you start rotating there, on the group, on a hospital. Stay engaged, right? If they're there, their passion is there. So if you show some interest and also value their journey, it's a mirror. They're going to value your journey, right? And so I think that's a very important point to just cover, is to stay engaged, ask questions, and also another thing will be prepared. Whatever discipline you're going to rotate in, practice, right? Practice presenting. Here in Phoenix, it is a beautiful melting pot in Phoenix of different cultures from all over the world. I have met providers and physicians from the Middle East, from Asia, from South America, from India, from everywhere. Accents are beautiful. And that's what I tell my IMG students. You'll never be intimidated by the accent. Accents are beautiful. I speak Spanish, so my English comes with a little bit of a Spanish accent. I think it's beautiful. And so, as Dr. Shahata had said, though, the key note is, even if your English is not, say, American English 100%, as long as you can communicate effectively in English and present, you're going to be fine. That is what I have seen as the biggest challenge for some of the students. So practice. If you've got a month or 2 or 3 months, as you prepare to come to do rotations, say here in Phoenix or any of the other US locations, I would definitely master my clinical skills in that specific subject matter, run some scenarios, do some presentations, maybe even audio and video record yourself, look at yourself, right? It may feel a little funny at first, right? But guess what? Just when I started working with larger groups, I manage over 150 different students at any given time. Yeah, I used to get a little nervous to speak to everybody, and gosh, I don't want to sound wrong or say the wrong thing. But until you start doing it, you're going to have that subconscious anxiety. So overcome it, because you're going to have to walk in what I would call the as if you're already in residency, as if you're already here, because you're being integrated into the U.S. healthcare system and how it works here. So it's important to practice a little bit so that when you get here, clearly you're not reinventing the wheel. But if you can come in here with some confidence, right? There's a fine line between confidence and arrogance. So I'm going to emphasize on that a little bit, but with some confidence, and even just the confidence in your articulation, and the confidence in your clinical skills, your bedside manners, right, and your presentation skills, you're going to be integrated a lot smoother. You're going to stand out for the right reason, and that's a key point that I really want to get across to everybody who's on this webinar. Another thing too, going back to the as if mindset, be professional. As if you're already a doctor. When you go to rotation, I've had students ask me, well, what's the dress code? How does a doctor dress to go to work? Lab coat, stethoscope, right? Maybe not the entire tie. I've had students have a tie underneath, but don't show up just in regular clothes. I would have scrubs. I usually, students that rotate here with me, once I have their dates and we've accepted them and sent out the acceptance letter, you'll get an email with instructions who the point of contact is at the clinic or hospital you're going to go to, what number to reach them, and so forth. And then we'll usually give you a handout that'll tell you the dress code, but it's pretty standard, right? Scrubs, I always tell students, do both. Be safe. Wear your scrubs. Don't go with crazy patterns. Just a solid scrub, right? Black, blue, or green, something that is appropriate. A lab coat and your tools, right? It's as if a financial person can't go to the bank and work without financial calculators, or the mechanic can't go and fix a car without the proper tools. So a physician cannot do proper exams without their proper tools. So that is something that I always tell the students, always be prepared, right? I'm a ex sports person, right? And so I was always taught by my coach was champions stay prepared so they don't have to get prepared. And so that's something that I like to communicate to my students, right? And another thing too is stay in touch with your coordinator. If you end up in Phoenix, stay in touch with me. If sometimes people get a little nervous and they don't know who, oh my gosh, that's what we're here for. That's why we have an office. We can schedule a Zoom. You can even schedule an in-person if you really need to sit down and talk it through. I think it's important. So always being respectful, holding ourselves to a higher standard is really what separates us, because like I was saying, we only get one opportunity to make a first impression. It's like I was taught this. Every day is an interview. Someone's always watching, right? And so with that being said, we have to hold ourselves to a higher standard, because they're going to notice us for one of two things: the right reasons or the wrong reasons. And so I think that's super important to communicate to everybody that's on here who's considering coming to Phoenix or to any of the Sarthi locations, right? We want to help you be successful. But it's on your shoulders, right? We put you in the right place. It's on your shoulders. And so again, coordinators are here to help you, walk you through the process, ensure that you're onboarding, credentialing, that's all not going to fall on you. That's why you have your support staff. And so that's what we're here for. Okay, so those are the 3 points on making a first impression, or starting to make a good, strong first impression. I'll move on to building the relationships for your LORs. Okay, when you start your rotations, to walk in assuming that you're just going to get the LOR could be taken a little arrogant. If that's the first thing you want to start talking to the doctor about, I would caution against starting with that. It's initially getting in there, building their relationship, showing interest in the doctor, telling the doctor, talk about your career focus, right? And sometimes I even say, like, if you go to an internal medicine doctor, tell the doctor you're interested in internal medicine. They've spent the last 25, 30 years of their life building that career path, so show interest in that, right? If you're going to a psychiatry rotation, it doesn't matter the discipline. I would definitely say, this is one of my top choices, right? Maybe even if it isn't, the reason being is you want to create some type of bond. You want to be able to connect with that physician, and you want to show enthusiasm over that subject matter, even if it's not the one that's your focus for your residency or for the rest of your career, but show interest in there. Now, I use a funny analogy where I say, well, imagine this. You're going to the dance and you want to ask somebody to dance, and you say, hi, can I dance this song with you? I'm not interested in really dancing with you, but I need to dance with you so I can show this other person that I'm a great dancer. Well, that's going to be a discouragement to this other person. They're going to be like, well, go dance with that person. So, but if I get to that individual and I say, I would really be grateful if you would just dance this song with me. I just want to, I'm excited about it. I saw you dance. I love the way you dance. I'd love to dance and be a better dancer. More likely that person's going to be like, absolutely, I'd love to dance with you. That's a lighthearted analogy, but that's really all about the connection, right? And so also talk to the coordinator, right? If you have a certain discipline that's going to be the focus, then like in my case with my students, I send them a questionnaire so I get to know them even before they come here, because this way I'll know who to put them with. Using this dance analogy, if it's somebody who's going to have to, let's say they're here for 3 months and they're taking, I don't know, internal medicine and neurology and family med, well, and their main focus is going to be internal medicine, then I'm going to get them with the strongest, most connected provider who can get them a strong letter of recommendation, who's going to give them the opportunity to be able to shine, and maybe not put them in such a And I put him with the wrong doctor who's not really focused on like a GME, graduate medical education affiliation, because you want to focus on the ones that are going to be strongest for you. So I would say that's communication with your coordinator is going to be key, because the coordinators who are on site or the coordinators who are placing you, they're the ones who deal with the administration. They're the ones who deal with the hospitals. They're the ones who deal with the doctors. And so also personalities are key, right? We do our best to match the right personalities together, so that this way it's a good fit. Okay. One of the things that I want to do is in regarding to building the relationship for the LOR, where I was saying, don't just make that assumption. I've always advised my students to do this. Day one, day two, you're kind of being integrated into the practice or to the team. And I would say, doctor, Dr. Gallardo, I'm really focused on internal medicine, and really excited about the opportunity. Thank you so much. Listen, I just want to chat with you for a minute. I'd be strategic. I don't ask them in the middle of the day if we've got 30 patients we're going to see. Don't ask them, maybe even at the end of the day. Wait for the right moment. Gauge, as they say here in America, you have to read the room. Kind of gauge when the right and appropriate time is. And this is what I advise my students, and it's also verbatim. I tell them, ask your preceptor what you can do to earn your LOR and consideration for your LOR, because you're really enjoying the rotation, and you want to apply to a residency in that discipline. And it's helped them. It's worked with a lot of doctors, and these doctors know that they're working with the IMGs. Most of my doctors are former IMGs, and so they have been where you are in the past. But again, they still have had to earn it and have had to climb that mountain, right? Yeah, I always use this analogy with everybody. We're all climbing the same mountain, right? Which is the mountain to success, whatever our goals are, but yet we're all climbing our own individual mountain. And so your doctor had to go through their own trials and tribulations to earn it. I think that's the appropriate way and the right way to approach one of your preceptors, by establishing the rapport, expressing your goals, your visions, your focus, asking them about their journey. And then you want to add that cherry on top by saying, well, what can I do to earn a letter of recommendation from you, or consider in consideration of a letter of recommendation, because I'm learning so much from you, something along those lines. So and also, and the last thing that I would say, I call it the philo theory. The philo theory is this, and Dr. Shahata has talked about this a little bit, but a philo, the way I learned it, is the first in and the last one out, right? Which means you take that initiative, right? First one in, last one out. So you'll go the extra mile always, right? Smile, how, if they have, 3 patients left and most of the other students or residents are leaving, volunteer to stay. Hey, doctor, I don't mind staying. I can help you till we're done. I won't leave until you let me go, doctor. Right? I'm here to help. That kind of humility and willingness to go that extra mile, it'll open doors for you. That's for sure. That I have seen. It's happened to me, and I think that is a very good trait and characteristic for any person to carry with them through their lives. So stay focused. Show your work skills. Oh, yeah, this point is good. So when you have a rotation and you get your invitation, what I have recommended to my students, especially those who are coming for short terms, and you know who you're going, because you'll know at least a week or two in advance where you're going to go, who your doctor is. Draft up a letter of interest, write them a little letter, and a copy of your CV. When you communicate, if you communicate just with the administrator, I would still forward them a copy of it, and the letter of interest would be something along the lines of, thank you, thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm looking forward to it. I'm interested in rotating with you. Whatever your reasons are, you draft not a 3-page letter, just a little brief overview, introducing yourself in a letter, and address it to that particular doctor. But then what I would also do is, on day one, I would bring a paper copy, right? It's almost like you're going to a job interview, right? Even though this is just a clerkship, that's something that I can almost assure you most students aren't doing. But yet they're asking for a letter of an LOR, letter of recommendation. So show the same initiative, right? Remember, I'm talking about that mirroring. A lot of the stuff in connecting with people is all subconscious. Energy recognizes energy. If I show up to a rotation and I've already got a brief little letter of interest and a copy of my CV, and I'm showing the doctor gratitude, and I've already taken the time and initiative to research a little bit and put some bullet points in there as to why I'm interested in that particular rotation or that particular site or that particular physician. It's going to be something that's going to stand out. Again, we stand out for the right reasons or we stand out for the wrong reasons. And so I think if we're going to expect for a doctor or a provider to draft us a strong letter of recommendation, the least we can do is show up with a letter of interest, kind of already planting the seed. Remember, you don't plant the seed and reap the reward at the same time, but planting that seed even before you get there, watering the seed while you're nurturing the relationship, watering the crop while you're showing your skills and going that extra mile. Your end goal is to be able to leave there with a good clinical clerkship experience, a better understanding of the U.S. healthcare system, and your letter of recommendation. So that will be the final point that I'd like to put on the building the relationships. One more point, Pawan. Am I out of time?
Well, okay, go ahead.
Okay.
You know.
One more point really quick. Oh, just mistakes to avoid. I know there's just so much information. I just want to help everybody. So
I know.
I'm going to nip it in the bud. Okay, mistakes. I'll be really quick on this. Mistakes to avoid. I would say this: overconfidence can be detrimental. You know, a good balance of humility and confidence is good, right? That'll be it. Smile. This is a very important part of your medical education. So smile, right? Energy will reflect. Don't isolate. That's the one that I wanted to really cover. Don't isolate. Don't get intimidated if some of the residents or it's moving very fast and don't isolate yourself. You can reach out if you're in Phoenix, you reach out to me or reach out to your coordinator. We're here to help you. And then what I would like to say is this: when you're done with your rotation, do the follow-up, a thank you email, a thank you letter, and a follow-up. And, just kind of, again, just a little reminder, you're very grateful for the LOR and that kind of situation. But that's very, very important. You get in with an introduction of a letter of interest, and when you leave, you send a follow-up email, thank you little card, something along those lines, because that way you're going to stand out. And so, again, I'll close with these two things. Remember that every day is an interview. Someone's always watching. Don't ever assume if you get stuck, you call your coordinator. That's what we're here for. Because all we can do is position you for success, right? All we can do is put you in the right position, but you have to do the work to get there. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Jose. And I quickly wanted to, share a couple of things again before we move on. So
yes,
let me do that. In fact, I wanted to. Okay, let me see. Okay, so for those of you who said, we are changing our system, so contact us, and Shitanshu, you can put my email also, because I see a couple of things, they've sent a WhatsApp, etc. So have them send an email to me and I'll answer questions. List of rotations, especially in Arizona, if you want to see on the screen. Like Jose said, we have a lot of rotations now. Almost all of them in an inpatient, outpatient setting. So take a look, and it's across all specialties. So that's something that those of you interested in definitely can help. There is a research program that we've launched, which can, this is innovative research as well. They're offering a discount of $300 now, and you can actually get up to 5 to 6 publications in about 2 years. So by September, about 2, and then, if you continue working, especially if you are a student, that can help you because you can get up to 6 publications in about 1.5 to 2 years. So look at that. And on the East Coast, especially those of you who are looking, we do have some university hospitals on the East Coast now. So these are called Clinica rotations. And Shitanshu can share the link. And these are, again, in hospitals on the East Coast. But all the rotations are here on our Excel sheet as well as on the website. With that, let me turn it over to Shitanshu. I have another urgent engagement, but Shitanshu, I will answer all the questions. So I'm going to put my email here before I leave. But Shitanshu is going to be hosting the other speakers. So Satyam, Shweta, Shruti, all of them. But I put in my email, direct email, and you guys can also WhatsApp me with any questions. So I'm putting that WhatsApp also. So it's a US number, of course. I'm also in Phoenix, so I put in my email and my number. So for those of you, I apologize. I have not been able to get to all the questions, but I will if you send me an email. I do have to leave now. But Shitanshu will take care, and thank you, Jose, and we'll be
Okay.
in touch again.
Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great
Thank
rest of
you.
the weekend.
Shitanshu, over to you, and direct any questions later on to me. Thank you.
Sure, yeah. Thank you, Pawan. Thanks for all the information. So, yes, so now we have our next speaker is Dr. Satyam Barber. Hi Satyam, if Dr. Satyam, if you can please introduce yourself and uh, tell your insights about how to find the best common challenges in clinical rotations and how to overcome them.
Okay.
Yeah, let me
Uh,
just make you a co-host so you can switch on your video. Yes.
mm, am I visible?
Yes, please go ahead.
May I start, Dr. Shitanshu?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Uh, Hello, everyone. I am Satyam. Currently, I am doing internship at GMC Amritsar, India. Today, I'll be sharing my experience in finding clinical rotations. So, I would like to thank the team Sathi for giving me this opportunity. I'll be talking about challenges IMGs face while finding rotations. Firstly, it's the visa requirements. Like most of the rotations require B1, B2 visa, which may take time to process. Then, talking about rotations, when an international medical graduates begin searching for rotations, it often feels overwhelming and confusing. However, as the process continues, it becomes clearer. It is essential to first decide which specialty you want to pursue before searching for the rotations. Like, for example, in my case, I was interested in internal medicine. So I focused on finding rotations in that specialty and its lead branches. The best way to start is by conducting a thorough research, seeking guidance from your seniors and and your professors, and exploring other options as well. You can also use cold emailing and apply directly through university and hospital websites. Now, talking about the financial burden, the cost of clinical rotation varies significantly. I recommend booking a rotation through a trusted source to ensure you receive a worthwhile experience for your money you invest. It's also important to set a budget based upon your personal financial situation, including expenses of traveling, accommodation, and daily living costs. So the solutions to overcome these challenges are like apply at least 3 to 6 months in advance to secure a good rotation, and prioritize university and hospital-based rotations over clinical-based one, as it will give you better exposure to a wide variety of cases and facilities. Use networking platforms like LinkedIn, alumni connections, and other trusted sources to find the best opportunities. Now I will be talking about like why US clinical rotations matter for the international medical graduates. Like for an international medical graduate, US clinical experience is one of the most important factors in securing a residency match. Like clinical rotations familiarize international medical graduates with the US healthcare system, helping them to understand its culture, terminology, and protocols. Additionally, they provide an opportunity to build connections, gain research experience, and strengthen residency applications. Benefits, I will talking about the benefits now. Like during clinical rotations, we gain first-hand experience with electronic medical record system, insurance-based healthcare practices, and multidisciplinary team coordination in patient care. And obviously, the better your clinical experience, the higher your chances for securing residency interviews. The clinical rotations also help us in networking and mentorship. We interact in clinical rotations. We interact with the residents, the attendings, physicians, and the program directors. A good impression may lead to mentorship, research opportunities, and even a residency interview invitation. And then like a good rotation will help you overcome if you have a low USMLE score. Like it may overcome that score. And the key takeaways are like during rotations, build strong connections, actively participate in patient care, and secure strong LOS before completing a rotation. Uh, Now I'll be talking about the difference between versus observership experience for international medical graduates. Like hands-on experience, it is the direct patient care where IMGs actively involved in history taking, physical examination, and patient management. And there are two types of hands-on experience. One is the externship. In externship, for it is for medical graduates, and the clerkship or elective, it is for medical students, like who are in the final year of their graduation. And the key features of hands-on rotation are like they will allow you to interact with patients. You can perform physical exams and procedures. You can write progress notes and present case, and it will provide strong LORs since the physician can assess your clinical skills. And talking about observership now, observership it is a passive learning experience where international medical graduates observe patient care but does not directly involve in the with the patients. So there is no direct patient interaction. It we can attend, but we can attend presentations and conferences. And but the physician here will not be able to assess our clinical skills. So, and now to like the final verdict from whether we should go for hands-on or observership. Like, if possible, choose hands-on experience. Observerships are like better than having a no clinical rotation or clinical experience. And like it is not that the students who go for observership do not get a match. If you are getting observership in good institution like Cleveland or Yale or something like that, do consider it. Finally, I want to give final tips for IMGs looking for rotations. Choose the right type of rotation. Research before booking your rotation and book it from a trusted source. Target university and hospital affiliated rotations. Apply early, like 3 to 6 months or even 12 months in advance. Get the most out of your rotation, like build strong connections with the physician and do your best over there. Manage cost and logistics. Get at least 2 to 3 strong LORs and use your rotation experience in ERAS application, and use your rotation experience and learnings in personal statement and interviews, and stay in touch with your physician. At the end, I will say that I want to thank Sarthi for helping me securing my rotations. The best thing about your team is that you are always available on emails, calls, and WhatsApp for providing me help and answering about my queries. Thank you for helping me in my USMLE process.
Thank you, Satyam. Thank you for great insights, and I'm sure students will benefit from it. So yeah, thanks again, and thanks for saying good words for us as well. So now, Dr. Srushti Pal, if you can also introduce yourself, let me just make you a co-host on this. And now you will be able to switch on your camera, and if you can talk about how to overcome application hurdles for US clinical rotations, that will be helpful to us. Uh, Dr. Sushi, are you still here? Or? Okay, I think.
Hello,
Okay,
hello.
yes.
Hi.
Hi. So,
Yeah, I'll just switch on my camera.
yes, please.
Hi. So my name is Srishti Patil, and I'm a USMLE Sarthi student. I've already done one rotation with USMLE Sarthi, and I'm currently doing the second one. And I would like to thank USMLE Sarthi for presenting this opportunity to me. I'm very grateful for this opportunity to be able to help students watching this webinar and be able to help them and uh, guiding them in their US clinical experience process. Because if you ask me how I got to know about USMLE Sarthi, I would say that I got to know about it while I was watching a webinar. So basically, when I was in my final year, third year, final year, I used to I didn't know much about the process, right? So I used to I had membership in a lot of medical organizations. So I used to join such webinars, and in one such webinar I watched a webinar about which was given by a psychiatrist, like a psychiatry resident in United States. So when she was telling us about her process, one of the things that she mentioned is she did her rotations through USMLE Sartri, and she actually matched into a residency program. So that was a huge giveaway for me that okay, USMLE Sartri is probably the right thing to do. So that is how I chose to do USMLE Sartri for my rotations, and I think it's been great. The coordination has been great. The rotations have been great, and the doctors have been really nice, and the coordination is really nice. Like if I have any problem, I can talk to the USMLE Sarthi coordinator, and they will actually guide me through any problems that I face. And like it has actually proven true. So now to get to the point, the application process hurdles. So first thing that you would like to see is that like don't compare your situation to anyone else's, because everything is different, right? Everyone's journey is different. Everyone is from a different college. Everyone has the maybe different branch that they want to get matched into. Everyone has different timeline, different uh, time that they want to give their step one, their step two, their OET, etc. So don't compare yourself with anyone else. Just take guidance and just take whatever you think is the best thing, even from this webinar, I would say. So to get back to the application process hurdles, I think first you need to do is cater the situation to yourself, your personal situation. So for me, what happened is I had given my USMLE's step one, and then I had to finish my internship by April. So I had given my step one by September end. So I had only a few months in which I had to find a uh, find 2 to 3 rotations to do, and then I had to do the application process, the payment process, etc. And in this entire process, I had to go to US and come back. So right now I'm speaking from Michigan actually, and I'm doing my rotation here. And so it was very difficult for me to like find the the rotation experience during that particular time, in my particular timeline, because I gave my step one in September end last year. So cater your rotation experience to yourself, your particular situation, your visa process, your flight, your passport, etc. Look at everything, and cater the situation to yourself, cater the rotations to yourself, your particular situation. Like see what suits you the best. If you have someone in United States, that's amazing. That'll be very helpful for you. Try looking for maybe rotations around them if that helps. Maybe looking for housing, or if you have someone that helps, like that helps greatly. I personally have my sister here, so she's not a medical student. She's an engineer, so I look for rotation around her so that it would help me. You can also do the same and see what works for you. And so yeah, you can do that, and look for the best rotation according to you, according to your particular situation. So when looking for your rotation, look for whatever particular. So whenever you go to the USMLE SARTHI website, you can see that there are multiple options to choose from. You can choose if you want neurology, you want psychiatry, you want maybe internal medicine, pediatrics, etc. There are multitude of options to choose from. You can do that, and then you can select if you want inpatient, outpatient, or if either, whichever works for you. If you want hospital letterhead, clinic letterhead, those particular options are there, and then it shows you shows you the options available in those particular dates or months, whatever. So you can select according to that. So my first clinical rotation I had done was in New York. It was in Brooklyn and Staten Island. The place had two offices, right? So that is what I did. But so that is what was best according to my situation. So you can see what clinical rotation works best for you in that particular situation from your perspective, based on your exam, your whenever you are graduating, your internship deadline, etc. You can see according to that. And another thing that might be application hurdle or something you might come across is the documents which can be required for the clinical rotation. So like someone had mentioned before, you're carrying your CV. I think Dr. Jose had mentioned before that carrying your CV would be very beneficial and would be very helpful, and it would help in making a very good first impression. So you can do that. And before going to actual clinical rotation, the thing that you might require would be your maybe CV, your ID card, which could be your passport. You would require your visa. Make sure you do your visa process before you apply for a clinical rotation. I would suggest that would be the best thing to do, because it can take a long time to get your visa and then get it back, get your passport back, and just sort out your visa process before you look for clinical rotation, I would say. And some rotations, not catering to any specific rotation, but some rotations might require your English proficiency, which could be your TOEFL, or if you have passed USMLE step 1 or step 2, you can give those as a proof that you are efficient in English language speaking. Some might require a basic life support card and HIPAA certification. Some might require some specific vaccination, like which could be meningitis, or maybe pertussis, or maybe just a brief like written that by your maybe pediatrician that you have been vaccinated against these vaccines, maybe DTP, etc., pentavalent vaccine, whatever. So those specific requirements would be written in your wherever you are applying to your rotation from. So make sure before you apply, you go through all of those, because a lot of rotation might require TOEFL, for example, and maybe you can write TOEFL, you have the required time, or maybe if you don't, so you have to see what rotation fits best according to you, if you have that particular time, or if you want to give TOEFL, etc. Other than that, I think one more hurdle that you might come across would be your if you have any particular doubts, whether in your living situation, or like if you want a roommate, or any other like some random doubt which you have regarding to the rotation, there's always a USMLE Sarthi Telegram group in which everyone can ask whatever doubts they have, and there will be various hundreds of other students who would probably be in the same situation as you, and they would probably answer your questions, so along with the USMLE Sarthi people. So that is, I think, one of the things that has helped me. And I have also, like, even if I see any person asking any particular doubts which I know the answer to, I would gladly reply back to them. So I think USMLE Sarthi is very good in that particular sense. And one more hurdle I would say that you can come across is to look at your housing. Okay, so one thing I think I would suggest is looking for housing which is close to your particular rotation, because traveling would be a hassle, right? So if you're living in New York has a very good subway system. So which is very nice, and it's cheap also and efficient. So that would help you in traveling wherever you from your housing to wherever your rotation is. So I think that's very nice. But unfortunately, this subway system or such a good public transport system is not there in states, especially in the Midwest area, which would be Indiana, in Chicago, Illinois, and Michigan, where I am in, and other states in the Midwest. So it would really help if you get a rotation, which is get a housing which is close to your rotation, so that transportation won't be an issue. Maybe 4 days a week, 5 days a week, we will have to travel back and forth. That and for housing, USMLE Sarthi also provides housing. You can look through the website, which can provide a multitude of options. And regarding transportation, I think for New York, the subway is always the best way to travel in New York. But in other states, you can either rent a car or maybe do Uber. But try looking for places which are close to your actual rotation place, so that because one thing to remember is, more than traveling, more than going here and there, and maybe looking at new places. I mean, that's good. That's good and all. But the one thing that you're here for in the United States is for your clinical rotation, right? So that is what you need to keep at the back of your head, that okay, try not just look for your places with respect to your specific rotation place wherever you're doing it, because that is what you're in the United States for. That is your main thing. That should be your main perspective, that okay, I'm here for this particular thing. I will do like cater your experience to that particular rotation, because that should be your main goal. Everything else is aside. Your main goal is to do your clinical rotation perfectly and make a good impression, get a good LOR, and help, and hopefully it will probably help you in your future career in applying for a residency for a match. So yeah, that would be my experience, and I think that's it from my side. If anyone has any doubts, they can reach out. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks you, Dr. Patnal, very much, and thanks for actually explaining how our rotations work, how our residency website work. Uh, so yes, as she has mentioned, we have around 300 plus rotations on our website, and Ashiva can share the links again for that, for where to look at for the rotations. And yes, there are multiple filters out there. You can filter by specialty, you can filter by geographic preferences. If you have, you can filter by what kind of LO are you looking for, and what kind of rotation you looking for, hands-on or inpatient, outpatient, observership, tele. All there are multiple filters, and we always suggest to students that play with those filters. Choose maybe like shortlist maybe 4, 5, 6 rotation, whatever you like, and then you can have interaction with us. You can book a meeting with us for those things. And in fact, you can check the availability as well from the website, or you can call us, you can WhatsApp us, you can email us, and we'll be happy to help for that. So yeah, before we move to our next speaker, which is our last speaker, Dr. Shweta, we have one more announcement about the match. So yes, we have a match group discount promotion going on. So it's because we have just reached 15,000 followers on Instagram, and so we are providing a exciting giveaway of $350 off to each and every student who book with us the match services. Uh, so you need to so we need to have at least 15 enrollments to roll out that uh, promotion. So let me just share you the link where you can check all the details for that. Okay. So you can check all the details of this promotion, and if you have any queries, obviously feel free to reach us out on our WhatsApp, on our email, or you can book a meeting with us. And Ashiva, if you can share all those links again in the chat, will be helpful. Okay, so now let me make Dr. Shweta co-host as well. So hi, Dr. Shweta, if we can, you would be able to now switch on your camera, and if you can talk about the strategies for excelling in US clinical rotations as an IMG, would be really helpful.
Hello. Hi. Hi everyone. So my network is very poor, so I cannot connect through video.
Yes,
Can I?
that's yes, 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 sure, please. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. So basically, I'm Dr. Shweta from India. I have completed my post graduation in 2023 in MS ophthalmology. So I have my home country residency too. But due to my personal circumstances, I relocated to US. So I started writing. Started preparing for USMLE Step 1 last year, and I completed it. Mm. And now I'm preparing for Step 2. In between them, I wanted to do one rotation, so I started checking for rotations throughout all the websites, and I one where I found where I find the good one was USMLE Sardi rotations. I have seen lot of videos of them in the YouTube, and my friends also um, guided me to USMLE Sardi rotations. So I have taken USMLE Sardi rotations last month in the January in Texas. So it was very nice rotation, and I have learned so many things. And there are and the differences between the home country residency and here. I have learned so many things, and my topic today is the cultural adaptations and the patient interaction. So one of the biggest challenges for IMGs is adapting to the culture of the United States medicine. So here we can learn about the ethical standards and HIPAA training and the patient privacy laws and the professional communication in a clinical setting. And the clinical adaptation cultural adaptation is critical for success in the residency. So the most common hurdles we face as IMGs are the communication barriers and the cultural misunderstanding. So the answer for this communication barriers is just we need to talk with them. We need to adjust. We need to communicate with everyone, including directness and the formality and non-verbal clues to effectively interact with the patients, colleagues, and the superiors. And we need mentorship programs. Typically, seeking guidance from the senior physicians or any mentors, it is a very insightful process to the medical practice and the cultural things. And the so I have taken guidance from the USMLE Saradi. That was very helpful for me. And when I entered the first time, I was so like there are so many changes between the Indian healthcare system and US healthcare system. So it was very shocked to me first. So I started communicating with them, and I have to ask so many questions. So I learned my superiors and I work with physician assistants as well as my program director. So I used to ask them any doubts regarding any adaptation, any patients. So we need to know about the some ethical laws, so how to treat them and how to basically approach them. So we need to know those through our seniors, and experience is everything. Engage in the clinical rotations or community programs, and improving our language skills to communicate with the patients and colleagues. These are the most important adaptations, I guess. And the patient interaction. So the patient interaction here, the communication plays a very key role. So we have to use our simple language, avoid the medical languages, explain to the treatment options or procedures. So like we need to explain what we need to pay attention what the patient is trying to say, and we need to listen about them, and then we need to explain them what they have, what in the layman terms, and we need to explain the procedure, treatment, and everything. We need to interact with them and the patient. So that was the one thing which we need to learn about the patient interactions. So and the other one is the how to success in clinical and diagnostic skills. So basically I have done my outpatient and inpatient rotations for 2 weeks. So outpatient, I have seen lot of patient coming with the medications changing and diabetes, hypertension, so everything. So we need to be cautiously, we need to study before we go to the rotations. We need to know about certain terms, certain diagnostic approaches, standard protocols, treatments, and everything. We need to learn about them, and we need to practice, we need to study, and we need to explain to them in the layman terms, and that's the way. Mm. And one more thing, To enhance your clinical rotations, actively ask your supervising physician and mentors about the strategies, how they used to interact with the patients and how they are explaining. We need to observe how they are doing and how they are treating the patients and how they are taking the history. So we need to take the history in their terms, their physical examination, and there is a term like SOAP assessment. We need to fully read the regarding that, and I have access to the Epic system, so we can learn more about the Epic system and EMR patient care like things. So, and the managing stress, so take breaks in between, like go for yoga, anything you do, anything you like. So don't be stressful, and you need to study regarding for next exam. So take break, like take 2 days break and go for gym, go for holidays, but come back again, study, at least study a block during your rotations, and you can next prepare for the next exam. Don't be stressed away. You can do it. Basically we can do it. And networking thing is like I have got my second rotation with one of the hematology. So how I got this is through my mother's friend. So she talked with her, and like that I received one of my rotations. So ask anyone, any doctor, go to them, ask them, any seniors, ask them, networking, and be in touch with your previous program director or assistant professor, whoever you did rotations. Be in touch with them and constantly mail them about your progress, how you are doing, what you are doing, what's your steps course, and be in touch with your residencies, your superiors, and everyone who you worked with previously. So that would be very important for you, for any insights, for any future decisions. They can help you with that. So that's it for today.
Okay, thanks, Dr. Shweta. And it was actually very good. So, yes, the key thing she mentioned is communication. And yes, communication is the key, not only to get good LORs or personalized LORs, but also for learning. And definitely look for rotations which have EMR access. We have many rotations which provide you with that. And program directors or interviews do like that. So, yes, look for rotations with EMR. And I think that's it for today's webinar. I believe it must have been very informative for all of you. And just to give a quick recap, we discussed about different types of rotations and the importance for IMGs. We learn how to choose the right rotations based on specialty, based on networking opportunities, and then obviously strategies for learning, gaining good LORs. So yes, again, I would like to give a huge thank you to all the incredible speakers for sharing their expertise, and of course to all of you being here today. So just before wrapping up, we would like to have feedback. Uh, do feel free to contact us on our WhatsApp number, on our email, or if you have any particular queries, you may directly contact Pawan Khera. We have mentioned his details over there, contact details over on the chat, and you may book a free profile review as well with us. So that's it for today. Thanks everyone for joining us, and thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. We hope that video provided valuable insights for your journey. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And check out our website for details on how we can guide you to a successful match.